we're recording this portion of the meeting, and Sandy wanted to had some remarks to make before we go into Hillary's presentation. Sandy.
She's muted.
In furthering the discussion that we just had, I wanted to make a request that the commission or the chair of our commission make a formal request to council to put on the January agenda that the land bank reauthorization vote will be put on the November ballot, so that it's in writing, it's a formal request, and that way it won't just get in the flurry of a new chair, etc. I think we need to make that a commission request to council in writing. My thought.
Good idea. Good idea. All right, any other comments before we move into Hillary's presentation on the strategic plan and the SWOT analysis that everyone turned in? Excellent. I did not. All right, Hillary, she's talking.
Sorry, we're determining a thing. I don't know what it is. Okay, it's the summary of the
How would you get it queued up? I'd like to talk about the nominating committee since I have an opportunity. So we're moving into, this is the month, at this meeting, it's typical, we create a nominating committee whose work will be between now and the December meeting, finding leadership for the commission, which involves the chair and vice chair, just those two positions.
Those are the two official ones.
Those are the two official ones. So after deep discussion, I think Peggy and Marilyn are ready to be that nominating committee, but I don't want to force them into anything, although this is being recorded. So I'm willing. Are you willing to serve?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. All right, so do we have to vote on that or just? No. All right, so they are your nominating committee, and they'll be reaching out to other commissioners to see their interest and desire to serve in either one of those positions. We will have 2 new commissioners in January, so it's going to be a small pool that they'll be selecting from, but a very highly qualified pool. So thank you so much for agreeing to do that. Oh, you're most welcome. No pressure. And are we ready now?
We're ready.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to Hillary.
Okay, where should I stand that most people in the room can see me? Should I, they can see me via the owl, right?
Yes.
That's
Okay, maybe I can go,
So-
yeah, how about we do that? I'll stand here so everybody can start making part of your ear around. Can everyone in the virtual room see me okay? I have to look that way to see you, but I know.
Sorry.
You see me best if I look here. Okay, so thanks for having me here today. I'm Hillary Wilkinson. For those of you who don't know me, I am my company Triangle and I have been hired to help.
Tanya and Aaron, I'm sorry, there's background.
Oh yeah, people are moving chairs. I'll wait. Sorry. We'll wait. I'll start over. Thank you for moving, you guys. Okay, I'm Hillary Wilkinson. I'm with Triangle Associates. I was hired to help Land Bank with its strategic planning process. We are deep in the strategic planning process. I've been working with an excellent strategic planning committee. Many of you in the room and on the call are part of that committee, and you will get your full due of acknowledgements at the strategic planning retreat that's happening in December. The reason I'm here today is one very critical component of a strategic planning process is conducting what's called a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We being the strategic planning committee, decided that it would be really helpful to do this exercise in advance of the retreat. And so that is what we have done. So I sent out a link and a document to all commissioners and all staff. Well, my colleague Kate did about a week-ish ago. And there were some problems with the online form, and I apologize to everybody who battled the online form. but you had an opportunity to send in a document directly to me, which many of you did, and thank you for that. And what I'm here to do today is to lead us through about an hour-long exercise where I think I have an hour, correct? Or do I?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I just wanted to confirm. Where we start to absorb and discuss the results of that SWOT assessment. So because yesterday was the deadline for compiling, sending in the results, I just compiled it yesterday afternoon. And this next hour is really about giving all of you an opportunity to kind of absorb and discuss what you see there. And we're going to do a 2-part exercise for each of the 4 quadrants of the SWOT: the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So I will walk you through that. We're going to be working in small groups. I'm going to have to be creative of how we work with the folks on the call. I have the list of the staff and the commissioners that are on the call. What I'm wondering is when we go into small groups, can you send them specifically into a room, like a breakout room? Is that possible?
I don't know
So
if we're
that
set
they
up
can
for
do
that.
the same exercise that we're gonna do in the room?
Let me work on that.
Yeah, if you can figure that out, otherwise we'll do it a different way. We'll do something different, but hopefully we can make that happen. Are you in Teams or in Zoom?
We're in Zoom and not,
Okay,
and just standard Zoom, not a
yeah,
webinar.
yeah, when I'm done with this, I might be able to help you
Oh,
figure
great,
that part
okay.
out. Okay, so what I just want to spend a few minutes doing is just talk about the SWOT, just kind of high level, make sure everybody's grounded in what it is conceptually and how it links to the strategic planning process. So for those of you who did the assessment, you have probably a better understanding than those of you who didn't. But essentially, a SWOT enables an organization to really drill down and get honest feedback in 4 really critical areas. The strengths of the organization, these are kind of internal strengths like excellent staff, leadership, good financial support, those kinds of things, strengths of the organization. The weaknesses, or I like to call them challenges, but weaknesses is the term that's used in sort of the process of this. I don't love the word, but it is what it is. And essentially it's what it's what it sounds like is what are the areas, learning edges, areas of the organization that maybe need a little attention and a little work. Every organization has them. Taking time to reflect on them is an incredibly important thing to do and positions you to be stronger going forward. So that's why we take the time to look at them. Opportunities and threats are external to the organization. So just to differentiate, strengths and weaknesses are kind of internal. Opportunities and threats are external. Opportunities are things kind of circulating in the world that could provide really unique, great opportunities for you all as an organization. Threats are things circulating in the world that threaten you as an organization. Interestingly, in the feedback that came in, a very consistent theme across both opportunities and threats was climate change. It's both an opportunity because there's a ton of funding out there to support work like this that's dealing with mitigating the impacts of climate change. It's also obviously a threat because it threatens your lands. So those are external things. So any questions about that? Does that all make sense? Any questions from folks on the line? Raise a real virtual hand or just chime in. Excellent. Okay. I look here anyway, you see me sideways. Okay. So we got about 16 responses by the noon deadline yesterday, and a few trickled in after that. They have not been integrated into the document you're about to see. So for those of you who provided input after the deadline, or maybe didn't have an opportunity, there's going to be an opportunity to add to the compiled list that I have. So, so don't fret if what you have isn't reflected. There's an opportunity to add it. Okay. The last thing I want to just really underscore is sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking to do this process, especially when we get into the weaknesses conversation. And I just really want to make sure that everybody is as comfortable as can be. That is my job to kind of hold the space and have a constructive conversation about this. And the reason to look at weaknesses and challenges is, as I said before, because how else are you going to grow? How else are you going to address them? And how else are you going to move on? My observationally, just what came in the door was really great constructive input. There was no finger pointing, which is rare. There's no finger pointing. There wasn't anything like really, negative. It was all very constructive, acknowledging challenges and realities. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that. And so I just hope that especially for staff and especially for staff leadership, it can be sometimes a little bit like you're in the hot seat. But I really want to make sure that those folks in that position, those of us having this conversation today, understand that, we're here to be constructive and to grow. And that's the purpose behind it. So I just really want to underscore that because I know it can be nerve-wracking. Okay, any comments or questions? All right, so we're gonna work in small groups. And the reason we're gonna do that is because FedEx failed me. They did not print the materials that they were supposed to print in time. I was gonna have big posters with all the stuff and everyone would be able to visually see them. They didn't deliver. So instead, I printed some documents and we're gonna do some work in some small groups. And I'm hoping that the folks on the line who are staff and commissioners, I would love to put you into a breakout group together. And we're gonna work together to figure that out, Tanya and I. So just bear with us folks on the line. I'm gonna first talk to the folks in the room and you should have gotten a document in your email, right? Tanya sent a document in email. What I'd love you on the line to do is go ahead and open up that document because that's a document that's gonna direct us going forward. And if you receive that document, it is not to be forwarded. So it is for your eyes. Okay. Okay. So first, I would like to form 4 small groups. And what we're going to do is go through these 4 quadrants: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, one by one, spending about 13 to 15 minutes per item. And you're going to work in groups of 11, so groups of 3. I'm going to let you self-select. Try to mix it up a little. Staff, commissioners, different islands, different roles within the land bank, different expertise. Just do your best. Try not to sit with people who you're really tight with or close to or know really well. It's important to kind of mix it up. So folks in the room, try to find 2 other people you don't work with much and clump together with them. So that's your first job. And while you're doing that, and try to have sort of a little bit of separation from each other. So form little pockets around the room where you can talk and not get distracted by what other folks are saying in other spaces. Folks on the line, Tanya and I are going to work on putting you in a breakout room. Go to that.
Are they all going to chat?
Oh, can you, is that a chat? What
They could chat with one another. I wonder if you can mute us.
Well,
you. Okay.
So what we're trying to figure out is if there's a way to let you guys talk online with, so muting, so you don't hear us and we don't hear you. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that with Owl. So you don't have to hear us, hear you. I could.
Lori, I think we're folks on the line, what I'd like you to do right now is that document you just received. You're gonna pull up the strengths page and spend a couple minutes reviewing that. Okay, just absorb the information.
Peter, can you say something? I've turned our volume all the way down and see if that'll work so you can talk
Say
online without us.
something, say something.
This is perfect. Okay.
Okay, folks on the line, I'm bringing you back in. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at only the strengths page, nothing else. Okay, so the next thing I would like you to do as groups, and folks on the line, your group. So we're gonna mute you so you can't hear us after I give the assignment, but then you can talk together and we won't hear you because the volume's downing. So what I'd like you to do next is each of you spend about a minute sharing out with your group what resonated the most strongly for you and kind of feels like the most important strengths that you read about that we should be leveraging. Okay, so you're gonna spend about a minute each just kind of sharing out, saying like, okay, the things that I feel are, resonated the most are X, Y, and Z. These are the things I feel like we should really focus on leveraging because we're leveraging strengths going forward, right? Does that make sense? Okay, yes.
Are we limited in the number of things that we should pick?
No, you don't have, but for ease of efficiency, timing and efficiency, maybe 2 to 3. But if you feel like, yeah, just 2 to 3 that really feel like, oh yeah, these are really important to leverage and figure out how to leverage going forward. That's the real question, okay? Because the tie-in with the strategic plan here is that you're going to be answering at the retreat the question, how do we best leverage these strengths? Today is like, what are the strengths we need to leverage most? And at the retreat is, how are we gonna do that, okay? Does that make sense? So just answer from your perspective, what's the most important thing on here that you feel like the land bank needs to leverage? So let's spend about 4 to 5 minutes doing that. Okay, I'm gonna mute you all. If you have any questions, send them via chat. Okay,
Hi, online people.
Hi, online people.
Hi. It took me a while to open the document, so I was still in the process of reviewing. Somebody else wants to start.
Hard to know how best to, what order to go in here. But,
I'm still absorbing it, trying to come up with 3.
is it better for
So-
you to do that without people talking, or should we start while you do that?
Well, no, people could, if everyone's else is ready to start talking about it, that's great. I think it's really helpful to know that the next step is going to be, how do we leverage these things that we select? So that's, yeah, no, I've been reading it. I'm just a slow absorber.
I'm a slow observer too. Hey, I just want to say I don't have the documents. I'm not part of this process. I happen to be in the room, but just know that this is yours. So have at it.
Okay.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess I'll just throw out the ones that I see. And it's not verbatim from this list, but just the human resources generally, the staff and commissioners, we all know people, we're all engaged and interested in the well-being of the land bank. I mean, I think that's something we can really leverage, those relationships throughout the county. I think the other one is, partnerships. I'd like to see us figure out how to get our partners to advocate for us a little more strongly, or at least continue to advocate for us and for the existence of the land bank. And the third one, to me, that's not exactly stated in here, is our financial independence. I think that a lot of people are anti-tax, and I think that the fact that we, although we are funded by a tax, is not the general revenues, and therefore I think it's a strength. I think it's not actively costing the average person for the land bank to exist, and I think that's something we need to highlight and promote somehow. Stop there.
I find it interesting that the tax part is brought up often, because the only people that are paying the tax in 2023 are people that moved in 2023 or bought a property in 2023. The rest of us who paid earlier are benefiting from their investment. It's protecting our investment. I made investments 20 years ago, and I made some since and through the tax. And thank goodness for all the people that came after me, because they're protecting my investment. And I would think 95% of the people here are in my shoes, not the shoes of the 5% that are protecting our investment. So maybe it's just communication. And I know the complaint about property values and taking people off the rolls, but I think that's the only thing people could argue, and I think we've got a good explanation of that. But anyway, so that I would just, Peter, I was just piggybacking on what you said. I thought this was great. I agree with you, Peter. I think that the staff is, when I think back of what surprises me about being a commissioner here versus 2 years ago, the staff is particularly the staff that works with our existing properties is a great, knowledgeable, passionate staff. I think our mission, our mandate, has lasted 30 years, and it still seems relevant to me. Some maybe emphasize more or less than they were then. I think that's pretty. I think the relationship with San Juan Preservation Trust is a key strength that we have. I mean, you think about the big deals that have been done that involve them. Thank goodness. So I think that's and then, frankly, I think Lincoln and the acquisition process that we go through is a real asset. I mean, I think he really knows his stuff and guides us through acquisitions and management of that. So that's the ones that I emphasized, that really struck me when I read this strengths thing.
I like Peter's. Can you hear me? Am I unmuted? Yes. Echoing what Mike said, and also Peter, you generalized it human resources, but I just really think it's staff. I mean, yes, our commissioners, we do some things, but I think that's a huge strength of the land bank is the amazing knowledge, and not just knowledge, but demeanor of the staff, longevity of the staff, competence of the staff. I think that's a huge asset. So to me, that needs to stay on the list. I'm not sure what we do in the next step to leverage it, but I would just want to echo that I think that's one of our biggest strengths.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
Bleh.
I know that's not a lot of time.
We were fast.
Great.
So hold on, Peter, you're
And
give us a second.
we're just
So-
wrapping up here in the room.
I was just gonna
Folks
ask if
online, we need
Amanda
to
had,
get your volume up just a second. Hang tight, Sandy. Because we can't hear. So I need to get Tanya to up the volume. So just one second. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's get the volume back up for the folks in the virtual room so we can hear them, and Sandy has something to share. Okay, let's wrap it up, folks in the room. In the actual room, and now we have the virtual room. Sandy, I think we can, you go ahead.
Yeah, just give us one more minute. Thanks for the
One more
warning.
minute.
One
Do it.
more
Go
minute.
ahead.
And so
Go
we
ahead.
can
That's
wrap it up.
great.
Thank you.
We need to like.
Turn us down. Okay, yes, let's hear from Amanda.
Trying to unmute myself, of course. I was just gonna I think Peter's summary resonated with me. Kind of lumps a lot of the major categories, but yeah, human resources, partnerships, and I think the third one was properties.
But it was financial independence, but so yeah, so I would agree with those. Good three pick, because actually, Mike, the Lincoln acquisition, he's part of the human resources. So that we could lump him up there. Aaron's in our group, but we didn't hear.
well, he's in the big group. I think we're just using his.
Oh, okay.
Peter.
I see.
Tim, you have anything to add?
Tim didn't get the document, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Tim
But he
isn't-
might have
he's
his
not,
own.
he's not staff and commissioner, so I think that's why he's not.
Sorry, I was surprised by that. No, you all go right ahead.
Yeah.
Sandy, can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready? Excellent. Okay, time is really up now.
Do we need to turn them up?
Yeah, turn them up.
Get my exercise. Great.
Yeah, there we go. And what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go group by group, starting with this group here, just because I'm going clockwise. And just share with me some of the things that emerged from your group conversation about what really resonated and feels important to leverage in terms of strengths. And we'll just do a quick round robin, and then we'll end with the folks on the call. Okay, go ahead.
You want me to do this? Well, we gave the commission involvement 5 stars, 5-star review. And also, but the idea of the way the track record of the program itself and all the people that are involved that it speaks for itself. There's integrity, there's commitment, there's education, intelligence behind it, and did I get that? Have to be fast.
Can I, just so I understand, you're saying the program, say it again one more time?
Well, the track record of the program, the land bank.
Okay,
Speaks for itself.
okay.
You know, it's a thoughtful program. We've had a lot of very engaged people, we have knowledgeable people, committed people, commission and staff alike.
Yeah.
They're very, I think, you know, that was one of the strengths, very passionate about what they do.
High number of success.
I know
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
And with the commission that just, not just current commission, but it's the commissioners over time, that as another resource to leverage their both in and not even the ones that are within our community anymore, we're still local supporters.
Okay, great. Commissioners present and past, excellent track record in the overall program and a lot of success. Anything else you want to highlight?
Staff,
Staff.
caliber of the staff.
Staff. Yeah, that came out loud and clear. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next group. Okay, so your charge now is, given what you've just heard, is there anything you would agree with here or anything new to add?
We agree with everything,
Okay.
and we would put a 6-star on staff. They are the public face of the land bank, and they do a great job both in land acquisition and in making our preserves inviting to the public. And doing good job for nature too.
Great.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Well, we also have positive, a functional commission, working well together.
Okay.
Here's some.
Okay, sorry, can you speak up? Just want to make sure that they can hear you on the line
We
here.
were talking about the functionality, the one that came up on the commission, working well together, being informed.
Yeah,
Most commissioners have a star.
okay.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
We also added a new term, which is integrity. I don't think
Great.
it's on-
Great.
but it's-
Can I say high integrity?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else this group wants to add here? Feels important.
Well, under the track record of the program, we all felt that we had excellence in describing, describing acquisitions and maintaining excellent care. That all comes up in the track record of the overall program.
So should I add just kind of the description of the clear description of the
You guys can
program?
help me out on this? I just not, did I read that?
The second, I'll comment on the second, which is that people's maintaining preserves to the degree that people's reaction to them is uniformly positive. Really good impression of our stewardship of this.
I think it maybe warrants its own new standalone line of, I'm trying to think of how I would say it really succinctly, that the management of the properties is resonating with the public. There's a really positive, I'm just gonna say positive public response to preserves. That work? Okay, okay, great. And my handwriting is not the greatest, but just wanna make sure I capture the essence. I'm gonna move on to this group. Okay, here's over there, go ahead.
Okay, well, we also talked about integrity, and, you know, in here it's listed as commissioners conduct themselves with high integrity, passion and commitment. We expanded that to the staff, and commissioners, so the whole team with high integrity, and I think that's really important. Stewards are the public face of the land bank, and they do a great job with that. The properties the line here was many properties highly valued by the community and part of that is how they're cared for and maintained, really well done. Great track record for success during grants for acquisition, and so that kind of ties back in with financial integrity and responsibility.
Great. Okay, I think I captured it up here. I added the stewards, in particular under the staff, financial responsibility. And I added kind of grants and acquisitions as like a key area of success or focus of the success. Did I miss anything?
Well, I see that the public response is positive and the properties are well maintained. I think an extension of that is that the properties are a part or a core part of community members' activities. So
and
integrated in their lifestyles and connection
created in lives. Okay, I think I captured that, just that the properties themselves are extremely important to the community and an important part of their lives. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna pivot to the folks on the line. You had a slightly harder time because you had more people, so thank you for bearing with us as we try to do this hybrid small group breakout. But I'm gonna invite folks on the line to add, if what you've come up with is already up here, go ahead and note that, and if there's anything new, let us know that too. Who would like to speak up on the call? Sandy?
I'll do it.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, the two additional ones that we have to add, first of all, I'll just clarify that we kind of lumped in both staff and commissioners into human resources, basically. It was sort of more of a catch-all as being a strength. And then another strength is our partnerships and partners. San Juan Preservation Trust is what was cited. That's a very large strength. And then thirdly was our financial independence source of revenue, not being a property tax, being a one-time purchase of property tax. We're not out fundraising. We have a consistent source of income, not a property tax. Does that capture it, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard from you focused on the partnerships, and I think in particular I heard the Preservation Trust as a strong, important partner. And then this concept of that you have an independent kind of and consistent revenue stream. Is there anything else you would add up here?
No.
Okay. All right, hearing none, we're gonna move on. Thank you. We're gonna do this exercise for as many of them as we can get through, and whatever we don't get through, we'll do it at the retreat. But I think we can at least get through one or two more. We're gonna move on to the weaknesses and challenges. And we're gonna do the same exercise that we did there. I'm gonna hand out, where did my little stack of weaknesses? Oh, here it is. Sorry, I brought it up here. So folks on the line, you have challenges and weaknesses. This is page 2 of your handout. Go ahead. We're gonna spend 2 minutes, everybody kind of absorbing the information on the sheet quietly. Everyone, I want everybody to kind of quietly read it together. Yeah. I have an extra copy if anybody. Sorry.
Okay, I'll put them on mute. Oh, yeah, they're on mute. Well, either one. Okay. He's a co-host.
How you all doing?
I'm ready to start talking.
Okay, yeah, this is obviously in some ways a little more difficult one. Someone else want to go first this time? If not, I can go.
I'll tell you my top two out of this list is communication as being one of our top challenges, weaknesses, although we do a lot. It is just a need for more and more consistent, more organized, more and more better.
Right.
So communication.
When, everyone feel like they're done reading? Done reading?
Reading but not talking, yes.
Let me give them just another. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pose the question. It's a similar question, but it's slightly different. For the next about 6 minutes, I would like your groups to discuss the question of the challenges and weaknesses that you just reviewed, what feels the most important to address or minimize? Okay, so what really feels like, wow, we really need to tackle this. So just discuss that question amongst yourselves.
Minimize as in decrease its strength, power, or influence?
Yeah. So, sorry, let me reframe that. Most important to address or improve on. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. I'm gonna rephrase. What of these challenges or weaknesses feels the most important to address or improve on? That's the question.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I apologize for that confusion. I posted it in the chat for folks on the line. So go ahead and start discussing it if you haven't started already.
Okay, so I'll just finish up here my thing and then move on to you guys. So I would still say with that, communication. There's so many missed opportunities to tell stories and communicate with the public, and especially important coming up into a reauthorization period. And then the second biggie for me is staffing and staffing structure, which is kind of amorphous from the outside, not really knowing, but my sense for a long time has been understaffed or needing some kind of hierarchy and consistency. And so I think staffing needs addressed. Those are my two biggies.
Amanda, how about you go, since you kind of got shorted last time?
My list popped down. Let's see, most important to address. I don't have anything ready to go off the top of my head.
Okay, maybe Mike, let's go to Mike first. Then.
Yeah, I'm always able to go. So, yeah, I mean, Sandy, you nailed it. That's the two that I read as most important. I think that I was actually surprised. If you look at the number of bullet points under each of these categories, it seems like the one with the most bullet points may be the one that needs the most attention. And I was actually surprised at some of these comments, and I think they've made great opportunity to streamline things and make more clarity in the area of staffing. And the other one is communication. Since I've been on the commission, I've always worried about communication not being consistent, not taking every opportunity to communicate a consistent message, so that at the end of the day, anybody that read anything got the same message from us about what we do, how we do it, and why it's so beneficial. So I think those two, I would agree, probably the most important to me.
I tend to agree with those. I would kind of characterize the staffing thing as more like an organizational care and feeding. We got some organizational organizing to do and some it's a little bit of staff structure, maybe it's a little bit of a little tighter management, performance reviews. It's a little bit of more consistent policies, more consistent budgeting, you know. And I don't know quite how to describe it succinctly, but it's more than, to me, it's more than just staff structure. It's kind of just some organizational maintenance. But it's probably not a good way to describe it either. So, I don't know. Amanda, do you have any comments on that?
Mainly, I mean, I guess it warrants more discussion because about how we would do that. I mean, we're all generally just tackling what it takes to keep our projects and workload moving forward, as opposed to trying to step back and reorganize. But yeah, so the first two bullet points, I mean, communications and outreach related. Yeah, I think I agree with those categories.
So how could we better phrase the staffing, organizational care of since it's something to be addressed, what would be the best wording for her to put up on the board there?
Well, to me, since everybody seemed to agree that our human resources was a big strength, you know, I think optimizing that, the function of that is, you know, really important. And you know, I don't see any glaring single issue like, oh, we need to reorganize our staff structure, or we need new titles, or we need regular performance reviews, or, you know, but it's just some sort of feeling I have that we could optimize this whole thing with a little work on how the organization operates day to day. And I can't think of a way to make that more succinct.
So in my mind, I feel like the financial part feels solid to me. The accounting part of it, the acquisition part feels like that's handled well. Really, it's focusing on stewardship and like consistency, feeling like the individual stewards set their own priorities, but that it doesn't feel like it's one, at least from the outside, there isn't there isn't total consistency amongst the districts. And then it just feels like we keep taking on more and more bigger projects. And so necessarily there's got to be things that fall by the wayside. Feels like we need more people, or we need more.
2 more minutes,
something.
folks on the
I don't
call.
know. I would leave that up to staff to figure out what they need, because I don't know. And maybe it's just shifting roles around, but we ask a lot of the staff, and they're really dedicated, and I don't want them to get burnout. And we are always under on the administrative costs, and so I want to make sure that staff has what they need, and at the same time that we have leadership that's willing to re-examine how things are set up and see what we can do to better optimize. Okay, that's a big run-on sentence. I'm not going to be the one.
Well, you can be the one.
Optimize is a good.
Yeah,
word.
I think if you could say it Sandy, I would be supportive, but I think, because you're not staff, but I think pointing out that there was general agreement that our human resources were a major strength. Taking a look at optimizing those human resources, particularly staffing, through a review and kind of just with a review of staffing with an eye towards optimizing and meeting the goals we established in the strategic plan, something like that. I mean, it's kind of an offshoot of the strategic planning process, or it should be, is here's our plan. Are we positioned to achieve that in terms of staffing? Not,
So
it's not.
it's part of its capacity, part of its organization.
And allocation of resources and,
Peter, I have a quick question. All the other businesses on the islands are dealing with retaining people, the cost of living here and all that. It doesn't seem like that's a big issue to us, or maybe it is.
We're gonna start wrapping and start sharing out.
Shucks.
I get a thumbs up, folks on the call. Is this
just
okay?
another one more minute. Yep. So Mike, my sense is that, for the more senior staff, it's less of an issue. For the more junior staff, it's more of an issue. I think generally land bank staff salaries are quite a bit lower, for example, than environmental stewardship staffing salaries. Somebody with my education experience, number of years, makes a lot more in environmental stewardship.
All right.
For the lower, I guess we can come back to that, but anyway, it depends on the level, I think, how much of an issue.
I know we could all spend a lot more time, but we're gonna go ahead and close out the small groups and start reporting out. Thanks for hanging in there with us, folks on the line. Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's, we're gonna do the same exercise that we did with the strengths, but this time I'm gonna start with the people on the call. So we're gonna do reverse round robin. And I know you have more people and so therefore not as much time to talk. So we'll give you all the first crack at it. So the question on the table for the folks on the call is what did you all share out in terms of what kind of resonated, and in terms of weaknesses, what feels like the most important thing to address and tackle? So how did I phrase that? Oh, I put it over here. Feels important to address and improve on. That's it. So go ahead.
So we universally agreed on 2 items. The first one being communication with the public. And the second being considering that one of our biggest strengths is human resources and staffing, that one of our biggest challenges then is optimizing those human resources and allocation of staff capacity, needing to examine how we're set up to move forward and achieve the goals in our resulting strategic plan. So needing a review.
Okay. I'm just gonna repeat back to make sure I captured it correctly, Sandy. The first is just external communications with the public being one focus area, and another being how to optimize the human resources within the land bank. And then I wrote to implement strategic plan goals. Does that sound accurate?
Yes.
Yes, great. Anything else from anyone on the call you want to add here? Those were really the 2 that bubbled up most strongly for all of you.
Yep, those were the 2 we all agreed.
Great, thank you, well done. I'm gonna move on to the group over here. Yeah.
I was gonna sign this job.
Excellent.
So we agreed, staffing as being a really, really important component of this, and it's hard to kind of really say specifically, but really supporting staff and maintaining capacity, need legal expertise as part of the staffing or somehow part of the team. I think those are the main ones about staffing. Yeah, Helen. So then we also talked about communications. And one piece of that being how to advertise our accomplishments more frequently. And I would add to the communications, how do we respond to negative public perspective? With that, partnerships. Need to improve and kind of strengthen and expand our partnerships, tribal, county, and other organizations. Yes, good? Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. So just to reframe, you agreed with the group on the line in terms of the communications, and you specifically pointed to being able to articulate better, advertise the accomplishments specifically, as well as addressing kind of negative perceptions about the land bank as two main focus areas. And I heard you talk about partnerships, specifically tribal, county, and organizations, like nonprofit organizations, is that what you mean?
Or it's better. We didn't really call out specifically.
Okay,
But,
okay,
yeah.
I'll just leave it general. Did I miss anything?
I think there's one more. Communication.
I think in
And
ter-
staffing.
Yeah.
For the staffing piece.
Capacity,
Oh, yeah, that's right, this was yours, the staff
Yeah.
one was yours, supporting them, maintaining capacity, specifically, bringing in some more legal support. That's what I heard, right, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna move on then to this group, go ahead.
All right, so we had a few. I think the first one was communications also. And in particular, wanted to find a strategy, an outreach strategy.
I'm adding a new line for communications to get more of the nuance, it says specifically an outreach strategy. Okay,
And part of that is the need to improve our ability to respond to challenges, public challenges, public narrative.
okay,
And we're really constrained in how we can do that by having to go through the county administration. It's just not an effective way of countering claims that are made. We need to have more flexibility.
okay, I'm gonna capture this a little bit differently than it was captured earlier, because earlier this idea around communications and addressing negative perspectives and narratives. I think I'm also hearing that there's kind of a construct in which you work that limits your ability to do this as effectively as you'd like.
Right.
And so would it help if I captured it as addressing the current constraints? I don't know if that's quite right.
I don't know if there is a great, but
Here's what I'll do, I'll just add a little addendum to this, is like, current constraints. So that just is like a flag to make sure that gets discussed and as part of that issue. Does that sound right? Okay.
Well, I would say we need to communicate better with and through the township, specifically county council. And that goes two ways.
Okay, so I'll say improve communications with county council specifically. And I think that kind of maybe can be part of an outreach strategy as well. Okay, anything else from this group? Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about staffing as well, and
Okay,
how critical it is to support and have the adequate number of staff to accomplish the, all of the details of the mission, including, work on the reserves, which those goals seem to grow all the time. Not only with every, new piece of property, but also with the things that we want to and are expected to do with those properties. And we can't continue to burden the same number of staff with expanded goals.
right.
Stewardship.
Okay, so I think I'm hearing kind of a focus on staffing capacity, given kind of growing goals that are happening and making sure that there's the right balance. Okay,
Capacity and organization.
capacity and organization.
Yeah, there's a bullet on here, needed deputy director position. I'm not sure that that's exactly what's needed, but it goes to organization.
Yeah, okay, great. Ready to pivot? Okay, thank you, and last but not least.
Well, mainly, we're up there already, so staffing was a big one, and I think in terms of supporting, maintaining capacity, it was basically a need for a general update, overall look at everything related to staff, job descriptions, salaries, capacity, you know, any of that just needs to be looked at. Possible need for another layer in the hierarchy, the organizational structure, need or not need, just to determine if there's a need, so it's some kind of overall review of staffing.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other one was heavily into communication, and I think most of it's up there. Ours was more about thematics, like clarity of communication, was kind of the issue, both with information or misinformation, a unified understanding. I'm gonna insert, we had a discussion of one of the points that came up out of the subcommittee meeting we had, that it became clear to me that if you get all this in one room and we asked each of us to define the elements in the mandate, I think we would have as many definitions for cultural, historic, scenic as there are people in the room. And I think if we can't, as a group, have a unified understanding of those elements, then our communication with the public can't be as effective. If someone talks to you about low impact recreation, what does that mean to me versus another commissioner or a staff?
Right.
We should all be talking about having that same vision for each of those elements.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Yeah, so clarity on the elements in the mandate. And then I'm gonna add sort of, so I'm hearing from you, like, so that everybody's kind of singing from the same song sheet, right? Like saying the same thing and has a common understanding of the mandate elements. So I'll put common understanding, okay.
And to add to that, you know, we have outgoing commissioners and we'll have newer commissioners, and being able to have some, you know, historical knowledge that comes with it.
Right.
But then, you know, if you're bringing new people in or attracting, are we saying the same thing? Too?
Right.
So being able to define it.
Yeah, okay, great. Anything else from this group? All right, well, thank you all. We got through strengths and weaknesses and challenges. I have taken up my hour. What I would love more time, but I'm not gonna steal more time because I know you have other stuff on your agenda, unless given permission. But we are gonna go through the same exercise with the other two elements at the retreat itself. And I'm also, as part of your retreat packet that's gonna come out, there's gonna be some kind of specific questions to queue up that discussion, given what we accomplished today. So for example, for the strengths and the weaknesses conversation that we had, you've got, there's some themes emerged, right? This is why we do this. Some really critical themes emerged. Clearly, communications, staffing are very, very important, like kind of consistent across everybody who provided input here. And so the question that you will be given in advance of the retreat is, now that you've identified those as sort of priority things, what are some ideas that you have for how to tackle that? And some ideas have started coming forward, taking a fresh look at like hierarchy and staffing structure and job descriptions and things like that, but what's the kind of the whole enchilada there? Okay? Any final comments or questions? Anyone on the line?
I think we'd love to give you more time, but we have an executive
I-
session as very.
I know,
So those are two constraints.
I know, it's like time and berries are always the problem. Well, thank you for the time that you did give me. I think you made a lot of headway on this. And I'm glad you gave these two topics the time that they needed and deserved. And I think we're gonna go into the retreat really strong with this. So thanks again. I will let you kind of circle back around the table. I'm just gonna quietly take pictures and remove my things from the walls. And I will see you all in December. I'll just kind of quietly slip out of here. Thanks, everybody. Bye, everybody on the line. Appreciate it.
Oh, I know, it's nice to have you on. It's barely in my hands. I might have to buy it from you. It's kind of gross.
Especially in that, yeah, hybrid.
Okay.
Do you want to keep these?
Can you guys hear us, Sandy? Are we on?
Yeah.
And if so, just, you know, keep them. We are unmuted.
Yeah.
Let them wake up.
Okay. Yeah, we got it.
11, oh my gosh, it's
So if we could bring this back together, we're gonna move into executive session. And I'm hoping, I don't know, we can't bring it back together because Lincoln's not here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I will stop recording since we're going into executive session. How's that?
Good job.
Recording. I should probably go on record saying our final decision is to give Lincoln direction to continue with the project. As mentioned in executive session. All those in favor, yes, or thumbs up, just to go on record. And Brian and
Yes.
Peggy, that too. Okay. All right, that's it for the good of the order. Usually we have another public comment, but it doesn't look like we have anybody from the public. And I'm going to adjourn this meeting. I can go out any time.
Sorry.